And we are live. Have you ever watched an Instagram reel and saw a homemaker vacuuming her home or mopping her floor? Maybe she was folding laundry, and it just looked like she was having so much fun. Or maybe she was working in her walk in pantry and you could see row upon row of bins and baskets beautifully matched or complementing in this walk in pantry. Better yet, what about the Christmas photos that showed beautiful families in matching pajama sets that was just all over the internet during the holiday season? Hmm. Well, homemakers, I'm here to tell you that homemaking is not a highlights reel. Homemaking is made up of the bits and pieces that go in between the takes and the things that don't show up in the Instagram reel. That's what homemaking is really all about. So, on tonight's episode of Homemaking with Purpose, we're going to get into the discontent that can be caused by social media and what we can do to protect ourselves. We're going to get into it. And I have to tell you why I came up with this idea. I was watching Marriage and Motherhood, and I don't watch her all the time, but I do like to watch her. And in this particular video, she said she had deleted her Instagram account. And I was wondering why. And in her video, she talked about how when she watched Instagram, she became more and more discontented or unhappy with her home, with her life. And I thought, hmm. And then I thought about some of the different YouTubers that I've seen. One of my friends on YouTube, I won't mention her name. She's got a beautiful, huge home and so many huge, big, beautiful bathrooms. And I must admit, I've had bathroom envy. And I thought, do I really want more bathrooms to have to clean? But it is watching these things on social media that has caused me to be somewhat discontent. So I thought, she's really got a pretty good point that sometimes watching things on social media makes you unhappy with the things that you have. And so as I thought about this, I did a little bit of research, and there have been several research studies. There's science behind it. People have done the studies that show that the more you engage in social media, you can become unhappy with the things that you have. So I'm going to get into the content. I see that we've got people jumping on and the chat is hopping. So I'll come over and say hello once I get the content done, and then I'll come over and speak to everyone. So one of the things though that I saw that when I was doing my research is that when we're watching social media, when we're watching those Instagram highlights, when we see those beautiful families and well-behaved children at the dinner table and all of this, and we're seeing that little snapshot, it gives us unrealistic expectations. Now, let me get my banners up. But it gives us unrealistic expectations when we watch Instagram highlights or we watch YouTube videos. And then we're thinking, oh, that's the way life should be. Oh, that's the way life is. Well, Instagram reels, Instagram highlights, YouTube videos are not necessarily real life. They are a capsule, a snippet in time of real life. For example, you look here in my office, and my office is nice and neat and clean. And it is. But if you could see my desk right in front of me, I've got papers and books scattered in front of me because I have been working with some things prior to us getting started. When you're watching a YouTube video and everything looks nice and neat, many times the camera is pulled in very close and you only see what people want you to see. So you are not seeing everything. You're looking at that one little bit, and it is causing you to think, oh, well, this is the way it should be all the time. Well, life is not like that all the time. Homemaking is not like that all the time. And it's creating unrealistic expectations on the part of the person who may be viewing those videos. And then the next problem that can occur then, because of the unrealistic expectations, is that you can fall into the comparison trap. And one example that I just gave was when I did my pantry video just recently, and I'll link that in the description box below just in case you missed it. But one of the things that I said in the video was, I don't have one of those walk-in pantries that has all the beautiful shelves and that I can put in all these complimentary baskets and bins and things like that. I made the statement, I said, Miss Denise ain't got it like that. This is a pantry that I have. This is the pantry that I have to work with, and I have to make it work for me. However, when you're watching those beautiful bits and pieces on your YouTube channel, on your Instagram reel, it can make you compare what those homemakers have with what you have, and then feel, maybe I'm not doing what I ought to be doing. Maybe I'm not as good a homemaker as that person is, but it can certainly affect your confidence level. It can certainly affect your confidence. So that's something to think about. And then the other problem that can occur is that you might feel pressured to conform. Well, if that's the way she keeps her refrigerator, or if that's how her pantry is set up, or if that's the food that she puts on her prepper pantry shelf, maybe I should be buying those things too. And one of the comments that I made when I talked about the food that I had on my shelf is that I buy what I eat and I eat what I buy, meaning I buy what my family eats, the hubby and I, and so we eat what I buy. There are things that other families may purchase that we don't. So you don't want to have a pressure to conform to everything you see. So that's something to think about there. And sometimes you might feel that you are not making the right decisions or not making the right choices, or that, well, maybe I should be cleaning my house a different way or managing my home a different way. So those are some things that I want you all to think about. And I got notes all over the place, so you might hear me rattling paper here and there. Okay, so the next thing I want to bring up is that social media, depending upon how you use it, can be a time drain, because you can go down the rabbit hole and then you're there watching reel after reel after reel, or post after post, or YouTube video after YouTube video, and you end up spending so much time watching other people live their lives that you don't take care of the things that you need to take care of, and then you feel less than. Then you feel unproductive, or you may feel guilty about what you didn't get done. So social media can be a time drain, because I know myself, there have been times when I've gone down the rabbit hole and I'm like, oh, what time is it? Oh, I need to get some things done. So there's that. And then the last piece that I want to mention in regards to the problems that social media can cause is content overload. The last problem that I want to mention that social media can cause is content overload. Now, what do I mean by that? You can get so much content bombarding you from all sizes, from all sides, that you don't know which way to turn. You don't know what to do. Well, should I try that routine? Should I try that routine? Maybe I should have my children do this. Maybe I should discipline my children that way. Maybe I should use this particular cleaning routine to take care of my home. You can get so much information coming in that you don't know what to do or which one really makes sense for you. So, those are some of the problems that are associated with too much content or content overload. There's so many different trends that are going on. There's so many different tips from so many different homemakers. What really will work for you? So, those are like the big five things or the big five reasons why I believe that social media can cause a problem for homemakers. And in the research that I've done, there was a research study that I looked at from Harvard University that indicated that social media can cause a problem. So, the information is out there. So, that's what I want you all to think about. So, tell me, has social media impacted your life negatively? Has social media made you see yourself as a good homemaker, or has it made you feel differently about your home? So again, has social media impacted how you see yourself as a homemaker or how you feel about your home? If it has, type me in the chat, and if you're on the replay, put it in the comments section and feel free to elaborate on how it has impacted you. And if you're just joining us, let me just say that I am Denise Jordan, your host, and this is our bi-weekly show, Homemaking with Purpose, where we bring to you the best tips, tricks, and information on homemaking. And today we are addressing the fact that homemaking is not a highlights reel. It's not what you see on Instagram or YouTube necessarily, or at least that's not all that it is. And then today's episode of Homemaking with Purpose is brought to you by Apron Diva, my online apron boutique. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. So we've got our Valentine's Day sale going on. Our new Valentine's Day aprons just came in. So I'll get them up on the site tomorrow. Hopefully, my assistant can do that. And we've still got our holiday aprons on sale. So be sure to check that out. And then, of course, we've got our Pretty and Practical collection. So be sure to check us out at www.aprondiva.com. Okay, so now let me go ahead and get back into the content. So, what can we do to protect ourselves? How can we be more content with the things that we have? And one of the things that we could do is practice gratitude. Now, how can we practice gratitude? Well, one of the things you can do is in your planner or in a notebook, just jot down one little thing or two that you are grateful for. You can practice gratitude in that way. Some people have purchased a gratitude journal and they write things down in there. But what kind of things might you be grateful for? Like I know when I talked about my pantry, it is a wide, but not really wide. It is a narrow but deep pantry. It's an old fashioned pantry like they used to make them. And I've got shelves that are high and shelves that are deep. And I can be complaining about those shelves all the time, or I can find ways to embrace the uniqueness of the pantry that I have and problem solve and put in the little tools and shelving things that I can to make it work for me. So I can be grateful, number one, that I've got a pantry to put my food in. I can be grateful that I've got food to put in the pantry because I think of people in some areas that don't have that. So practice being grateful. I remember I went to church a few weeks ago and I had to park way in the back of the parking lot and it was kind of cold and I got out of the car and I was walking up to the front and the parking lot attendant said, I'm sorry that you had to park so far. And I said, no, it's not a problem. I'm grateful that I can walk from there to hear, because there are some people that cannot. So we can try to practice gratitude in the little things. So how can you practice gratitude for the home that you have, for the things in your home that may not be quite as you would like them to be, but you're grateful that they're there? I'm not going to look at comments now. I'm getting kind of like, I'm like, oh, look, the chat is jumping, but I'm going to wait until I'm done with the content, and then we're going to talk about what's going on in the chat. No, I'm not. I'm going to get over here now because I'm so excited about what people are saying. So let's get on over here, and I'll come back to this in a minute, but let's just see what people are saying. So I've got Michelle there, and she was the first one here today. Thank you, Michelle. I'm so glad to see you. And then I've got Joe from Minimal Zebra here, and Britt. And let's see, what are people saying? Oh, Jerry Barber. Hello, Jerry. I am so glad to see you today. Welcome to the show. And so Britt says she's glad this is being discussed because homemaking is a job. And I'm just going to say, boom, you are absolutely right. Homemaking is a job. Homemaking is not easy. Homemaking is often demeaned. One of the things that I learned, well, I didn't have to learn it. It was something I already knew, but in the research that I was doing that I came across, it talked about that homemaking is often undervalued, typically because it is women's work, and women's work is so often undervalued. When you're working in the home, you're not earning a salary, and in so many societies, particularly the society that most of us live in, working outside the home or bringing in an income is highly valued. And as a homemaker, typically you don't. However, let someone have to pay someone to come in and do all the things that you do as a homemaker. I think they might be a little bit surprised at how much they might have to pay. So there is that. And then Carol is here. Hey, Carol, good to see you. Let's see. So Michelle said she watched the video too, where Margie at Motherhood and Marriage talked about that she was leaving Instagram. And yes, I have bathroom envy because, again, my friend had all these big, beautiful bathrooms, but oh well. Oh, thank you. Jerry says, don't forget to like the video. So please, ladies and gents, do that. So Joe says, fantasy her loves the pretty spaces, but practical her wins in the end. And yes, fantasy me would love to have all those big, beautiful bathrooms with the walk-in showers and all the stuff that this other homemaker has. But practical me don't want to have to clean more than I've already got. And practical me is saying, is it time to downsize that we could have something a little bit smaller? So there's that. Let's see. So Melanie is thanking me, but I'm not sure why, unless it's for having this topic. And then Kathy says, hello from rainy Ohio. It is rainy here as well. Not only is it raining, it's like we were trying to decide, is it raining or is it sleeting or is it snowing? It was like so fine and cold, we couldn't really tell. So Michelle says she tries not to dwell on what she didn't get done, but focus on what she does get done. And that is something that we do need to think about. And when we practice gratitude, we can be grateful for what we did get done in a particular time. So yes, that is something that we can do. And then Jennifer says that she experiences content overload. And that's when you're getting so much information, so much content coming at you that you don't know what to trust. You don't know what to believe. You don't know what to do, what trend to follow, that kind of thing. Hopefully, when I say you don't know who or what to trust, you guys can trust me that I'm going to bring you information that will help you to grow and prosper as a homemaker. One of the things that I really want to try to focus on this year is talking directly to you, the homemaker. So in most of the videos that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to try to talk directly to you, the homemaker, because I just feel like That's what is needed. But okay. So Ivana Rev says she struggles with that as well. And then we've got somebody here from the Bahamas. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see. Britt, she says her home is old. It does not have granite countertops and or gray walls. They have paneling and it's old. Well, boom, I'm right there with you. Our house has that 1970s wooden paneling in the family room, but we had it wallpapered over several years ago. So now it's a nice light color, but it probably could stand being redone again. My kitchen has these old dark brown countertops. I would love to have them switched out. They're not granite with the nice little stainless steel sink with the granite thingy all the way around that so many people have today. What I have is what I have. And I take pride in getting it clean and getting the sink scrubbed up and that kind of thing. And then Michelle said she used to feel less than when she first got on Instagram years ago, but not anymore. And now, Michelle, I want to thank you for that comment. And I want to point out that she said she used to feel that way years ago. But Michelle now has gotten some maturity on her. She's been a homemaker for a while. So she's more mature and she can filter out some of that noise. But our young homemakers out there, have not gotten to that point yet. So, ladies and gents, try to filter out some of that noise and not let what you see interfere with how you feel about yourself and what you're doing. Um, One more comment, and then I'm going to get back into the content. So Kathy says social media has made us judge ourselves, and that is absolutely right. It has made us judge ourselves. And then Jen says that it makes her feel like she has no energy compared to those homemakers on YouTube. Perimenopause has really zapped her energy. Jen, let me tell you, I absolutely understand. And when I first moved into this YouTube space and I saw all these young women cleaning their house and they were doing the power outer clean with me's and all this kind of thing, I couldn't keep up with that. And whereas I can do my cleaning, I have to stop and I have to pause. And even on Mondays when I'm doing my weekly home blessing, depending upon how I feel, I might have to get half the blessing done on Monday, get the other half done on Tuesday, or it might take me several hours during the day, depending upon how I feel as to whether or not I get it all done. Now, I am luckily enough that now when my husband knows on Monday is the weekly home blessing, and he'll just help me start stripping the bed, or if I start stripping the bed, he'll just automatically go and grab the trash can liners. And then when I get so many things done, he'll get the sweeping and the mopping so that I have his help. So now I'm ahead of myself, but I've delegated some things to him to help me out because I've learned that I don't have to do everything myself. Okay, let's get back into the content. We'll come back over here to the chat in a little bit. But I don't want to lose people because we're chatting. Okay, so we were talking about ways that we can protect ourselves. Oh, and I guess I should say, if you're just joining me, I'm Denise Jordan. I can't even say my name now. Let me just say, if you're just joining us, I am Denise Jordan, your host, and this is Homemaking with Purpose, our bi-weekly show about homemaking, where we bring you tips and tricks about things related to homemaking. And today we are talking about the fact that homemaking is not, I repeat, homemaking is not a highlights reel. It is all those things that goes in between the highlights. And so right now I am giving information about how we can protect ourselves from that dis-ease or some of the problems associated with social media, which causes us to have unrealistic expectations, which causes us to fall into the comparison trap, which gives us pressure to conform, especially for those who maybe work outside the home versus those that stay home. It can be a time drain, and it can also bombard us with so much information that we end up with content overload. So when we think about what can we do to try to protect ourselves from that, one of the things that we can do, as I mentioned earlier, was to practice gratitude, meaning being grateful for the things that we have, to set realistic expectations. And this is huge, that we set realistic expectations on what we need to do and what we can do in our homes. And when we set realistic expectations, it's thinking about the energy that you have, thinking about the kind of home that you have, thinking about the kind of family that you have. Do you have children? Do you have a baby, or do you have toddlers? Do you have children that are school age or older? Because depending upon what stage of life your family is in will determine what you need to do, when it needs to get done, and how much of it you can get done in a day. So yes, all of that does make a huge difference. Let's see, let's make sure I'm not missing anything. And I guess the big thing too, when I say set realistic expectations, you also want to consider setting some goals for yourself and for your home. For example, how clean does your home need to be? What is comfortable for you? Now, when I was a girl, one of the big commercials they talk about was the white glove test, and whether or not somebody was coming in with their white gloves, and they would like run their finger along your table, and did you have dust there or not? So if you guys hear someone talk about the white glove test, you probably don't know what they're talking about, but it was an actual thing. Not that people would actually come into your house and do that, but it was just a way of saying that people will look to see whether or not your house is clean by how much dust is on your tables and that kind of thing. So, what do you need? Do you care if the house is dusty? Or do you just want the house to be picked up? You don't have toys everywhere, the kitchen's not cluttered, the dishes are washed, the bathrooms are clean. Set goals for what is most important to you. And in setting those goals, you might want to also create routines to help you meet those goals. So, now let me tell you about the goals that I have for my home and the routines that I have. And then you can tell me in the chat or in the comments section what goals you have for your home and what routines you have. So, I want my house to be clean. When you walk in the door and you look around, it at least looks clean. Whether it's actually clean or not, I want it to at least look clean so that you can come in, you can look around, and you don't think, gosh, you can go into the kitchen, have a seat at my table, and not have to move a pile of stuff aside to sit on a chair. And then I can reach into the cabinet, get down a cup, give you a cup of coffee, and we can be comfortable. I want you to be able to walk into my family room and have a seat in there on the sofa or on one of the chairs that are in there. And then if you have to go to the bathroom, I want you to be able to go into the bathroom. There's tissue in the bathroom. There's a towel or paper towels in there that you can wash your hands. The bathroom is clean, that I don't have to say, oh, wait, let me go check the bathroom before you go in there. Those are things that I don't want to have to do. And that's not asking for a lot from my perspective. So those are the things that I think are important. I think that my bed needs to be made every day. Does it get made every day? Well, 99% of the time it does. But every now and then, depending upon who gets out of the bed last, it may not. And sometimes that person's last could be me, depending upon what's going on. And then when I do get up, how much of a hurry am I in? But I have created routines to help me manage my home. I use the Fly Lady cleaning method, and my Fly Lady mentor is Fly Lady Cat from A Better Life with Cat. And she's the best Fly Lady on YouTube. So, how do we manage our homes on that system? Well, it's a three-layered cake, according to Fly Lady Cat. The first layer is your daily routines. The second layer is your weekly routines. And the third layer is your zone cleaning. So, daily routines. Every day, I do a swish and swipe in the bathroom. Well, what's a swish and a swipe? It's where you swish the toilet bowl out and then you wipe down the bathroom mirror and you wipe out the sink. Excuse me. Why do you need to do that? Well, your kids are in the bathroom or you and your partner are in the bathroom. So you want to clean out any toothpaste or anything that's been in the sink. You want to clean off the mirror because sometimes when water is splashing and kids are spitting in the sink, sometimes you get a few little bubbles on the mirror. And I'm being real. I've had 3 children and so I know what kind of mess kids make. And then, of course, if you're not cleaning your toilet bowl often enough, you can get those little rings around the toilet bowl, and then it's hard to get those out. And I like to clean the handle on my toilet every day because that's the dirtiest part in the bathroom is that toilet handle. So I like to do that every day. That's my daily swish and swipe. Also, part of the daily routine is unloading the dishwasher and putting those dishes away so that my dishwasher is ready to receive dirty dishes from the day. If you don't have a dishwasher, then you would just wash your dishes the night before, put them on the sink to dry, and then in the morning, once they're dry, put them away. I start a load of laundry every day so that my laundry isn't up to here. It's more down here rather than up here. And my laundry's not done until it's washed, dried, folded, and put away. So I get that laundry out of the dryer, I fold it up, hang it up, get it put away. And then I make dinner, and then I clean up after dinner. And that's pretty much my daily routine. So the daily swish and swipe, the dishwasher, the laundry, and clutter stops. I do a little clutter stop after breakfast, after lunch, and after dinner, just to make sure any of those little minions that have gotten out of place get put back where they belong. And this isn't clutter. This isn't stuff that doesn't have a place to live. It does. It's just not where it's supposed to be. So right now I've got stuff all over my desk where I've been working, but at the end of the night, I need to put those things away so that the desk is not messy tomorrow. Now, what is my weekly routine? Well, the weekly routine, Monday is a weekly home blessing where I strip the bed, empty all the little trash cans, vacuum the floors, sweep and mop the floors, and wipe the mirrors and things like that. That takes about an hour to an hour and a half. Sometimes it takes me an hour and a half because I don't move as fast as some of the younger women do. That's on Monday. Tuesday is my free day. So I still do my daily swish and swipe, the laundry, the dishwasher, and all of that, but I don't do any zone work. And I'll come to that in a minute. Wednesday is plan day. So that's when I get my planner out and I plan what I want to do in the house for the following week in whatever zone I'm going to be working in. On Thursday is errand day. So if I'm going to go out and pick up groceries, if I'm going to go to the post office, I go and get my hair done on Thursday. As you can see, I need to be there and different things like that. So I do my errands on Thursday, whatever I got to run out and do. And then on Friday is car and purse day where I clean out my purse. The husband cleans out the car. Saturday is family day. Sunday is renew your spirit, which is like church. Those are my weekly routines. And then zone cleaning is that third layer. And there's a different zone you work on each week. So week 1 is zone 1, which is the dining room, the front porch, the entryway, the garage entrance, those things, your entryways, that's zone 1. Zone 2 is the kitchen. Zone 3 is the master bath and one other room. Zone 4 is the master bedroom, the master bath, the master bedroom closet. Zone 5, living room, family room. Those are the different zones, and you work in one zone each week, and you pick 4 things from the zone to work on. And so this week we're in zone 4, master bedroom, master bathroom, bedroom closet. And so the 4 things I'm going to work on is like my workout clothes drawer, my pajama drawer, and then there's a couple things I want to do in the closet. So that's my routine to help me manage my home. Now, I developed that routine as an adult. When I was a young homemaker, I was a hot mess. I did not have a good example when I was growing up, so I had to find my way. And when I would see other people whose homes were immaculate, I'd be like, oh, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? By creating routines has been a lifesaver for me. So create routines to help you manage your home. And I've been talking for a bit, so let's make sure I didn't get off track. And I'll just ask you guys while I'm checking my notes, how can practicing gratitude and setting realistic expectations help you to be more content? How can practicing gratitude, setting realistic expectations, help you to become more content? And then, with that being said, how can creating routines help you to do a better job in managing your home? How can creating routines help you to be more content in what it is that you're doing in your homemaking skill set? Tell me that. How can creating routines help you to do that? And then the next thing you want to do is to celebrate accomplishments. And Joe and Michelle have already jumped ahead and talked about that. Celebrating those accomplishments can help you feel better about your role as a homemaker. And you can also check things off the list. And Michelle is big on checklists. She's got a number of different checklists that she does to help her stay on track of her homemaking stuff, activities, tasks, whatever. And she's found that creating those checklists and then checking things off has been helpful for her. And then she can look at that checklist and say, like, hey, you know what? I've done some pretty good things today. I've got this, and this done. Maybe there's one or two things that you didn't get done, but oh well, I've got all of these things done. And so I'm feeling much better about myself in that regard because you've got some things done on that checklist. Okay, so celebrate accomplishments will help you to be more content in your homemaking skills and in the things that you have. And then this is a biggie here, and this is to embrace the uniqueness of your home. You just want to embrace what you have. So my pantry is old, it's dark, it's got that real dark wood, just like the color that door back there. My pantry is that color on the inside. So I put some wallpaper up on a couple of the walls to make it a little bit lighter in there so that I can see in there a little bit better. And I use some white shelving in there to help it to lighten up a little bit. Sometimes when I really need to see in there, I have to get a flashlight shine in there to make things a little bit better. But I've learned to try to cope with what I have. So embrace the uniqueness of your home. We don't have a basement. We do have a garage and an attic, but we live in Indiana and the weather gets horrendous. We had -8 degrees last week as far as the temperature was concerned. So I can't store my prepper pantry out in the garage because the changes in temperature would not be good for any kind of foodstuffs. And granted, the garage door is shut and it's heated to a certain degree. It's not heated like in a house. So it's not as cold as inside the house, but it's pretty cold out there. So it's difficult for me to put things out there. So I have to put things in the dining room, which is a room that we don't use very often. Is that where I really want to keep things? No, but it's what I've got. So there's that. My bathrooms are small. I have 3 bathrooms. The master bathroom has a shower and it's small and it's attached to our bedroom. So it's like an ensuite. And then the hall bathroom up on this floor is larger. It has a bathtub with the shower stall in the tub. And then you've got your sink and your commode. And that's the one that the children would use or any guest that you have. Then there's another one on the main floor that's just got a vanity and the commode in there. And it's somewhat small as well. That's what I've got. So I learned to keep them clean. I keep them tidy. And the one downstairs now, especially since we put the new vanity in there, it stays pretty tidy all the time because there's not much place to put a bunch of stuff in there. So embrace the uniqueness of your home. What's unique about your home that you might wish you could do some changing up, but right now you don't have that in the budget? This is where you are, and this is what you need to do. So let me know in the chat what's going on with that, or if you're in the on the comments, if you're in the replay. So again, embrace the uniqueness of your home. And then here's something that I think is so helpful, which is to practice self-care. And when I say practice self-care, that means takes the time to look after yourself, to take care of you so that you can have the energy that you need to do the things that you need to do to manage your home. If you take care of yourself, you'll have more in your cup to offer to other people. So that's something to think about. And then along with practicing self-care is to set boundaries. Now, what do I mean by set boundaries? Set a time for when you're going to work and when you're not. So you want to set a time that at the end of the day, this is the time that I'm cutting off work. This is the time that my kitchen is closed and I'm not doing anything else today. I'm going to care for Denise for the rest of the day. So for me, I like to have all of the cleaning, that kind of thing done in the house that I need to get done by 1 o'clock. Most of the time it's done before then, but depending upon what I'm doing, if I'm doing my zone work, I'm going to get that done right after I've got my dishwasher unloaded. I've got the laundry started. I'm going to roll right on into starting my zone work so that I can get that done. So really by 11 or 11:30, that should all be done. So then when I start lunch, I don't have any other cleaning to do for the day. Now, it doesn't mean I might not have other stuff to do related to homemaking, but I shouldn't have any other cleaning, hopefully. You may have laundry still going that you have to change over from the washer to the dryer and that kind of thing. But I try to have all of that done. And then I have dinner between 5 and 6. So 6:30 at the latest, we're at the dinner table so that by 7 o'clock, we've got the kitchen and all that cleaned up. And then I'm done for the day. The rest of the evening is mine to just relax. If I get dinner started sooner, like I like to start dinner at 5 or 5:30, if we're done by 6 or 6:30, then I've got all the rest of the time in the evening to relax. So what is the time that you can set for yourself that you're done for the day? Now, you got littles, that's going to be a different story. When I had littles after dinner, then it was like, okay, bath time. Once you get the baths out of the way, get them into bed, story time. And once story time is done, you've taken up a couple glasses of water and they finally go to sleep and you can go, now you can have a little bit of time to relax, but it might only be an hour or two. But still, set those boundaries up when you're going to stop doing house kind of stuff so that you can relax. So tell me about that in the chat or in the comment section. And this is what's most important, and that is to focus on what matters most. What matters most to you in your home? Focus on that. You got littles, you got to take care of them. You've got a baby, the baby's going to take up most of your time until they get at least 9 to 12 months old, when they're on a better routine that you can kind of count on when they're going to nap and that kind of thing. Your toddlers will probably take a couple of naps during the day. And when they're taking their nap, you can have some time to do some things for yourself, but focus on what matters most. What do you feel like has to be done most for your house to be neat and tidy? What has to be done to make your family happy and healthy? Think about that. And then the last thing I want to think about in regards to what can you do differently is to delegate. Like I said, on Friday is car and purse day. My husband cleans out the car. I clean out the purse. And I was talking to someone about this earlier today, and she was saying, gosh, I wish my husband would clean out our car. It's a mess. But she was saying he drives the baby back and forth to the sitter, so the car is always a mess. But I said, this started when we only had one car. Now, I'm sure probably not many of you on there are going to remember a time when people only had one car. But when we were first married, like most people, we only had one car. And I don't even remember when we got two cars, but we'd already bought our first house and we still only had one car for a while. And then we got a second car. So when we only had the one car, he took care of putting the gas in it, getting it washed, making sure it was maintained and all of that. And he has continued that habit throughout our marriage of taking care of the cars. So even when I got my car and then we had two cars, and when the kids got a car and then we had three cars, he still took on the responsibility of making sure the cars were clean, washed, oil changed, and all that kind of thing. Now, of course, when the kids got their car, even though he would still oversee it, he taught them to be responsible in that area. But I'm digressing. So anyway, I delegate the cleaning of the car to him, and I clean out the purse myself. The mopping of the floors and sometimes the vacuuming, I delegate that to him. And I do other things. So there's that. So you don't have to do everything yourself. Gonna say that again. You don't have to do everything yourself unless you're a single mom or a single parent. Then you may not have someone in there to assist you with that. Then, depending upon the ages of your children, you may or may not be able to delegate things to them. But one of the things you can do is everybody helps with the after dinner cleanup. Even a 3-year-old can carry their plate to the sink or to the counter or something like that. So let them help as age appropriate. And then you all are doing these things together and then you quickly get it done. So there's that. All right. So let me come over here and check the comments because the comments have been just going crazy. So let's see what people have had to say over here. As Walter used to say, the chat is jumping. Okay. I see Miss Leona has jumped on. So I'm going to come back to Jennifer's comment about watching these other homemakers, and they seem to have so much energy, and that perimenopause has really zapped her energy. And that is very real. We do have a lot more energy when we're younger, and then once we become older, as we mature, we don't have quite as much. So you have to try to make that routine work for you. Do what you can and then stretch things out, plan things out so that you can get what you need to get done and not feel you've got to do everything that someone else does. Like I said, sometimes I will break up my weekly home blessing because I'm just too tired to get it all done in one day. And then with the zone cleaning, it's to be done in 15, but no more than 20 minutes. And one 15-minute task a day if you're a stay-at-home mom, or 4 15-minute tasks taking you about an hour or an hour and 15 minutes altogether on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, whichever day you have off that you can take care of that. But you shouldn't have to spend your entire weekend doing your zone work. You're going to spend no more than an hour and 15 minutes on your zone work because you're going to choose those things that you can get done in the 15-minute time. You might have to spend Saturday morning and Sunday morning working on laundry. If you can get laundry done during the week, I encourage you to try. So now Michelle says her pantry seems small to her too, but some people don't have a pantry, and so she's so thankful for that. Absolutely. And then Sharon Tech says, me. So Joe tells Jennifer she has a chronic illness and chronic pain, so she can't do all the things that other people can do. And then Ronnie's washing dinner dishes. Good. Okay, people are talking to each other, and Miss Leona has jumped on. Kadia, hello. This is Kadia, guys, and she's one of my YouTube sisters, and her channel is called I was going to say her healthy home, and she changed it. It's not her healthy home anymore. But she talks so much about herbs and how you can use herbs in your home. It's just a wonderful channel. I encourage you guys to check her out. And I saw on one of your videos today, Kadia, that you are expecting. So congratulations. I'm so excited for you. I was going to give you a call, but I got distracted and then I didn't. But congratulations on that. And then Joe is grateful for not being homeless. And then Stephanie has jumped on. And then Miss Leona says her pantry is not camera ready. She struggles to keep up because she has other commitments outside of social media and family. Boom. Absolutely. We have commitments outside of social media and family. So things don't always look camera ready, but you do what you can do. And Leona, one of the things that I asked people to think about was, what are your priorities? What is most important to you? Is that pantry being camera ready most important? Or are there other things regarding keeping the home nice and neat that are more important? Let us know. Joe says she likes to see real life pantries. Elizabeth, hello. She says hello and yes to content overload. She typically watches this and that, which is, me, Miss Leona, and then Dollar Tree videos. However, the algorithm takes over and she gets a lot. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. I've been thinking a lot about the things that you and some of the other homemakers have been saying. And so I really want to speak directly to you and what your needs are this season. So for 2024, I'm really trying to be intentional about what I bring to you. And so Michelle said she used to wonder where to start with so much content. She's edited the channels and she only watches a few a week and sometimes alternating which ones to watch. Absolutely. Now, I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but I like to watch it. I mean, if I'm going to make YouTube videos and have a channel, I also have to consume it. So I'll watch YouTube at night when I'm in the bed. My husband's trying to go to sleep. He'll be like, "Where are your earbuds? Put your earbuds on. Turn it down." And I'll just pat him on the shoulder and then, like, he'll be asleep in a second, which probably isn't very kind, but that's when I like to watch YouTube and things like that, because I don't watch TV during the day because I'm busy. But yes, you have to decide which ones you're going to watch, and hopefully they're going to be things that are edifying for you. So the little Berto says she's in her mid-30s and she appreciates this content. As she grew up learning cursive, yep, we learned cursive as well. So she takes the bits of advice when she needs motivation. Oh, thank you. She says when you need advice and motivation, it's Miss Denise and Miss Leona, period. I'll accept that. And Miss Leona, I'm sure, will accept that too. And then we've got Muskoma Goma. Hello there. Now, Michelle, that's a good idea. She said when she feels overwhelmed by a particular channel, she just clicks the bell to turn the notifications off and takes a break. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And turning off the notifications can help with overwhelm, says Joe. So now I agree with you, Michelle. Michelle says that Miss Leona could show her pantry, and it could be good to show the struggles that she has with it so others know that they are not alone, because everything we see on YouTube is not necessarily picture perfect. And that was the point that I was making earlier, is that the things we show on YouTube are just a little capsule. We show you what we want you to see. So we bring that camera in tight, or we just don't film in that area. So that's why sometimes, like, I have the video where my kitchen after Christmas was an absolute disaster. It looked like somebody dropped a bomb on it. But I thought, I'm going to go ahead and show this video because I want people to see this is real life. Now, my kitchen is nice and neat right now. There's a few things in the sink that I'll take care of when I go down before I close the kitchen for the night. But it doesn't always look that way, especially if there's something big going on. Michelle says she's been showing area, areas in her home more and more, and people are liking it. Yes, Michelle. And I think when you were on the show that time and you talked about some of the struggles that you have, just maintaining and managing, keeping up with things, it is so helpful because other people say, oh, okay, I'm not alone, I'm not by myself, but also this is real life. This is what real life looks like. And so Lurker Smurf says, I see some videos that make me feel like my home is so dirty when I know I actually do keep it clean. Exactly. And we don't want you to feel like that. We really don't want you to feel like that. So when you see those videos, just know that you're just seeing a snippet of what's going on in their life. You're seeing one moment in time, and that is it. So Michelle says she mostly works on a pick up and put every day that helps. And so that's a clutter stop where you're working on looking around and seeing what's out of place and getting those things put back. And keeping things tidy helps spaces look cleaner. Spaces are dirtier in real life than they are on camera. Yeah, that's for sure. So, Leona, I like this. She says, as we set goals, we have to take into consideration that life may get in the way. When that happens, we have to be flexible and rethink the time frame. And maybe we didn't allow ourselves enough time. And I thank you for making that comment that we do have to take into consideration that, as they say today, life is lifing. Well, life can happen. And when that happens, you've got to be flexible and just revisit the time frame. Did you give yourself enough time, or did something come up in that time frame that interrupted your ability to take care of that task? So yeah, there's that to think about. You've got to be flexible. So Ronnie says her fly lady system flew out the window. It doesn't work for her, and that's okay. It works for me, but it may not work for you. Some people feel like they want to touch every area of their home every day. They don't want to just kind of cycle to some things around once a month or something like that. It works for me. And I was thinking today that you get to a point where you're really cleaning a clean house or cleaning an almost clean house with the system that I use. But your system obviously is working for you. And that's what's important. And that's what I mentioned earlier, that one of the pressures of YouTube or Instagram is that you have to conform. And you don't. You have to figure out what works for you and do that, Ronnie. So thank you for bringing that up. So Elizabeth says she wants her home to be ready for surprise guests. Her in-laws are very comfortable with said surprise visits. So her priority daily is cat litter, kitchen, bathroom, and living room. And that makes perfect sense because that's where your in laws are going to see. They're going to smell the cat litter if it's not cared for. They'll walk in the kitchen or into the bathrooms, and then the living room where you're probably going to sit down and visit. So, yeah, they're going to be there. So, I understand that completely. Ooh, Ronnie's got a plant based stew for dinner tonight. Tell us more, Ronnie. I want to know. So Tammy is here, and Tammy says she has loose goals this year. She's doing a lot better with routine tasks, laundry, beds, dishes, and cooking at home is also a goal this year. So Tammy, let me encourage you to use your notebook, your planner, a calendar to make a list of those routine tasks that you want to do. Maybe get a little checklist and mark them off as you get them done, and that'll serve as reinforcement. And yeah, and like for myself, for example, I like to do yoga first thing in the morning just to kind of loosen up this old body, get those joints moving so I'm not stiff throughout the day. But I know that if I don't hit the yoga mat as soon as I get up, unless it's a day that I've got an appointment with a yoga instructor, it doesn't happen because then I get started on my house stuff and I don't get back to it. Life happens or distractions get in the way. So my routine is to get it started as soon as I get up in the morning and then just work through it. So, what works best for you? I've always been a morning person, but I wind down in the afternoon. So, what works best for you? And I'm glad that you're doing better this year with your goals. Rose says she wants her home comfortable enough to walk around barefooted, look clean and decluttered, and everything is where it's supposed to be. We are still cozy or a Higa lifestyle. Huga. I can never say that right, but I get it. You want it to be cozy enough to walk around barefooted and at least look clean and decluttered. And I'm right there with you. I want my house to be the same way. As far as the Higa lifestyle with the blankets and the different little sweater things, like kind of all around the house, I think that is just so attractive, and it just can make things look so warm and cozy with the candles. But every time I light a candle, my husband puts it out. If I walk out of the room, he puts the candle out. He's afraid it's going to catch the house on fire. If I put a blanket or something over the sofa in the family room, when I walk out of the room, he takes it and throws it into a little corner because he doesn't like all those things on the sofa and that kind of thing. Unless he's cold, then he'll find one to kind of pull over himself. But yeah. Oh, Janice Mello, my new subscriber from Canada. Welcome, Janice. You know, Janice, catch the replay. We've had some good discussion here talking about how social media can make us discontented with what we have, and that what we see on social media is a highlight reel. It's a snapshot and it's not real life. So do catch the replay so that you can kind of fill in on some of the things that you missed. But right now, I'm just kind of looking at the comments that people have made about either how things have affected them or what they're doing differently to help themselves. So Michelle says Flight 80 didn't work for her. Exactly. So she made her own routine, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Create something that works for you. So Britt says practicing gratitude and setting realistic expectations helps to calm her stress. Exactly, Britt. So you practice gratitude, saying what you're grateful for, what you accomplished, you're grateful for what you have, you're grateful for this, that, or the other, and then be realistic about what you can accomplish in a day, what it is that you really need, what you can afford, does help to relieve stress. Oh, I like this one. Make a to done list instead of a to do list. I like that. So Janice says being thankful each day really helps her to get through the day. And she definitely needs a routine, especially with two daughters at home with online school. So if you've got two daughters at home and they've got online school, you probably have to do a certain amount of interaction with them and their schooling. So you definitely need to have a routine so that you can minister to what it is that they need, help them with what they need, as well as taking care of the things that you need to do around the house. You know, my husband has put a couple of those battery powered touch lights in a couple of places, and they never seem to last very long. So, but yeah, he's done that a couple of times, like in the closet in the hallway. He's put in touch lights from, they just never seem to stay on or work very long. But so when I'm working in my pantry, if I really need to see in there, and I'll get my ring light and I'll set it up in front of the pantry and turn it on, and then I can see in there pretty good. Michelle says her cabinets are the dark 1970s and she doesn't want to replace them because the wood is solid and still in great condition. Exactly. My cabinets are that 1970s dark wood that you see back there, and they're in great condition. So I paint the walls in the kitchen, but I really don't like to paint wood. So Jenna says in Canada, they all have basements. And so she stocks her extra food down there and her extra fridge downstairs. There's a lot of homes with basements in our city. We just don't happen to have one. Michelle says she's thankful she doesn't have a basement because that's just more places to store stuff she doesn't need. I get it. Yeah, and you're right. That could be. Okay, let's see. So Michelle says after dinner, she's done for the day. She has to clean up while making dinner, and anything else can wait. So Janice says basements are needed because of extreme weather. We have extreme weather here too, but probably not to the extent that you get in Canada, or at least not all the time. So Ronnie's in South Texas and close to the coast, so they don't have basements, but sometimes she wishes they could. And and then she watches horror movies and would be afraid to go down there. Oh, that's too funny. Practicing gratitude and setting realistic goals helps to be more content by helping me focus on the positives of my unique home life and not comparing it to others. Yes, Miss Lisa, that's exactly what we want you guys to be able to do. Okay. Uh, so Rose says her self-care starts in the morning with her routine of exercise, Bible study, and a balanced breakfast. She works full time and then a care partner for her hubbies. So if she sets up a schedule for gym on Sundays to help, she works full time and is a care partner for her hubby. So are you saying that you're help to care for your husband? So she sets up a schedule on Sundays for him to help. Oh, you've got a care partner with your husband. Maybe that's what you're saying. But yeah, my morning routine too starts with that exercise. I hit the mat first and then get started with my day. I'm trying to incorporate the Bible study as part of that. Haven't done that quite yet. Michelle reminds, I think it was Jen, that postmenopausal is a change too. And what you used to do once a month, she could clean the whole house once a month, all in one day. Now it takes her 3 days to do that. So yeah, it is a change. Oh, I'm glad, Muscoma Oma. I'm glad. So Stephanie says she does what she can do. She's home for 3 reasons. She's got a spinal injury, she's a homemaker, and menopause is a killer. So she does as much as she can do until she gets tired. Exactly. You can just do what you can do. And Stephanie, let me encourage you not to wear yourself out. Like you don't have to work until you get tired, but use your planner and plan so many things you want to get done this week. And maybe you'll do one of them on Monday and then one on Wednesday and one Thursday and one Friday, whatever, however it is you want to spread them out during the week. Oh, Gracie, thank you. Thank you. I have to tell you guys, since we're just chatting now. So last week I wasn't able to talk about it because you're not supposed to. So we did a corporate fast with the church and we were only allowed fruits and vegetables and water. That was it. Now, last year we did a Daniel fast where you could have fruits, vegetables, um, tea, water, you could have juice, like brown rice, that kind of stuff. Well, on this one, fruits, vegetables, water. That was it. I lost 6 pounds last week. When I weighed in on Monday this week, because I weigh in every Monday, I had lost 6 pounds. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm at a weight level that I haven't been at in years. But I tell you what, on Monday, when when the fast was over and we had to go to a hospice to visit a friend, we had lunch on the way home, and that lunch was so good. But I'm still trying to get back on not that strict a fast, but retaining some of those habits, especially some of those plant-based habits that Leona's doing as well. And if you want to do a plant-based diet, you've got to check out cooking with plant-based cooking with Leona on her channel. She's doing plant-based cooking now. And as a matter of fact, for dinner, we had her vegan taco bowl. But since I could now have grains, I put it on some whole brown rice. So that was good. And then Stephanie, I don't know if you've met Joe before, but she has a chronic illness and she has a lot of pain. So she's very open with talking about this. Sometimes her condition interferes with her ability to get things done. So she's a good one to listen to when she says, try to give yourself some time to and to pace yourself so that you're not overdoing it. Hello, Lithia. I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness, Tech Troublemaker. Hey, Tech, how you doing? Tech, you're going to appreciate this. Now, guys, this is my friend Roy from his channel is called Tech Troublemaker. And he talks about how to do technical things on your YouTube channel. So if anybody out here has a YouTube channel and you want to know how to be more tech savvy, visit his channel, Tech Troublemaker. But Tech, we're talking about the fact that life, homemaking is not an Instagram reel. There's so much more involved in between and all around that doesn't make it to the actual video itself. So that's what we're talking about. And I provided the content, but right now what we're doing is just kind of checking the chat. But one of the problems that we find that people who are looking at social media get into is that they set unrealistic expectations for themselves based on what they've seen on social media. And then they fall into a comparison trap because they say, oh, well, she does it this way. Well, how should I do it? Am I doing my things the right way? Or you feel pressure to conform to something you're seeing. And then not to mention the time down the rabbit hole, the drain there, and then content overload. Several people here have said that content overload has been an issue for them. So that is some things to think about. And so right now we're looking at some things we can do to help protect ourselves from that content overload and the things that cause a problem. Lithia said she made soup. She made chicken broth and made it kind of Asian and added ramen. Okay, I like that idea. So Tex says he goes walking early in the morning or it won't happen. So part of his self-care routine is to walk, and he does it first thing in the morning early or it doesn't happen. And that's exactly for me. If I don't hit the mat, the yoga mat first thing in the morning, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't. Aerosol puff. Hello. I think somebody's got a huge history of asthma or something like that, and they're taking an aerosol one puff. I like it. Yeah, I've made some of Miss Leona's plant-based stuff, and it is so good. So do check her out. So Sharon says she loves the Fly Lady system, but she's customized it for her. That's why I like Fly Lady Cat, because she has now kind of tweaked the Fly Lady system to make it work for her and the people that she mentors. And as Lethia says, routines become habits. It becomes automatic, and you don't have to stress yourselves. You can train yourself to do those basic things the same way all the time. So it's like, you get up, you make your bed, you do this, you do that. So yeah, it's just good that way. So Alyssa Bertel says that sometimes being too clean, people almost feel uncomfortable. She's had people be worried that she would judge their home upon visiting. Yeah, that could be a thing. So when you say too clean, I think would be as if people feel uncomfortable when they come to your home because you're kind of hovering over them. And if they put something here or they put something there, you're kind of grabbing it up and wiping things up real quick, that kind of thing. I think that might be a matter of being too clean. Um, but if you make the people feel comfortable, they come in, you say, here, have a seat at the table, sit on the sofa, whatever, then that's fine. Now, there's some expectations you want to have. For example, let's say people come over and they're in your living room or they're in your family room or your kitchen and they bring their children and you've got everything nice and neat. You've got your little knickknacks sitting here and there. They bring their children over. Their children need to know not to touch stuff in other people's homes. Now, depending upon the age of the child, you might say, well, let me just put this up because the child's small enough that you know that
they don't really understand yet not to touch things. But if they're 3 or 4 years old, they're old enough to know when mom says don't touch that, that they shouldn't touch that. So then they need to be disciplined so that they don't get into stuff in somebody else's house. And if the person is uncomfortable because they feel like, well, gosh, you're too strict, then they need to keep their children at home until they teach them how to behave in public. However, it's different from they just come in and sit down and have a seat and you're comfortable having a conversation or whatever. You take them in the kitchen. Now, I like to have a placemat or a coaster on my tables because I don't want to get water rings on my tables. I have wooden tables, so I don't want water rings on those. So I'm going to go offer you a coaster so that you don't get a water ring on there. If that makes you uncomfortable, well, too bad. But when you leave, I'm going to have to try to scrub out that water ring off that wooden table. So those are things that you want to think about. Now, like I said, when I was a young homemaker, I was not a neat homemaker. I was just overwhelmed. When my first kids were born, they were twins. And then I was working. And then when we had our other child, I just was not the neatest person. Now, my husband's oldest sister, though, was very neat. I mean, her house was always looking like it was could be on the cover of a magazine. And I always felt like when she came over to visit that she was judging me because my house was always a mess. And sometimes she would walk in and she would like, and then she'd tiptoe and she'd look in the kitchen. So she was judging me and she was looking. And I was irritated by her doing that. And I talked to her about that one day. So yes, people do that. So when they used to talk about the white glove test, people didn't literally do that, but they could simulate that in certain ways. So there's that. Hope that answered that. So Kathy keeps a small flashlight in her dark pantry. And Joe says, yes, Elizabeth, it is a thing. Yes, Nitty T, you can put some pantry items in your closets and under the beds. And then Michelle is right also. We think people notice things that's wrong with their house when they visit, but most of the time no one notices or they don't care. Now, Joe, that's not on you. That's on them. If you keep things neat and clean, fine. When you go to their home, unless you're saying something to make them feel uncomfortable, don't worry about it because that's on them. Thank you, Lethia. I appreciate it. I always thought I sounded like Mickey Mouse on like film or on camera, but I appreciate that. That's what we're doing, Lethia. As we get into this week, we're going to definitely be doing less meat. And my husband had a doctor's appointment today, and the doctor was very pleased because he lost 3 pounds last week. I lost 6, he lost 3 because he did have fish a couple of days. And you guys know I don't eat fish, so I didn't have that. But the doctor was well pleased with his results and said, you could stand to keep this up. So we're going to continue to be more plant-based, not necessarily vegan, but more plant-based. Because I tell you what, I can't give up bacon. And then Roy says, social media is not good for your mental health. And I have to say, Roy, when I was preparing for the show, I looked at a couple research articles and it did talk about that depending upon what you're watching, it can cause depression, it can cause anxiety because of the comparisons, can make you feel like you're missing out on things. So yeah, social media may not be good for your mental health. One interesting study that I read, though, and this was done by a professor at Butler University in Indianapolis, Indiana, and he said he found that people that watch Facebook and was comparing themselves on Facebook had better self-esteem. Well, it turns out what they were doing is they would go on Facebook and they would watch and compare themselves with people that were less than they were, that they had things going on better than whoever it was they were watching. So it improved their self-esteem because they were watching people that were less than. However, the researcher said the caveat though is that eventually they're going to come across people who have more than them or who may be at a higher status, and then that could create some problems. But yeah, social media is not necessarily good for your mental health because it does make you compare yourself to others, and it makes you look at what you don't have and then what you might like to have. Yeah, you don't have to have meat in every dish, but you can certainly use broth and things like that. So, yeah. So Rose says her husband is disabled, but he can do some chores with direction. So she considers it their self-care structure of the week on. Oh, I see. So you consider your self-care structure on Wednesday, on Sunday, then you have your routines for laundry and dishes, that kind of thing. So my husband and I have a routine too. So after dinner, he will usually wash the dishes. So while he's washing the dishes, I'll put away the food. I'll clean off the counter and clean off the stove and those kinds of things so that when the kitchen's all done, we're done together. And then he goes on into the family room and watches whatever ball game or whatever he's going to watch. And then I'll put out fresh towels and that kind of thing. That's another good idea too, Tech. And I didn't bring this up earlier, but yeah, you should certainly consider setting time limits on how long you allow yourself on social media. That way you don't end up going down that rabbit hole and then getting trapped and then being unproductive and then feeling guilty because you're unproductive. And he says you can consider making it a game to see how long you can stay off social media. When I'm on social media, like if I have different little beings on my phone, I might check to see, but I try to put an Instagram story up in the morning, but I don't always get that done. And then I might like to see what my granddaughter's doing on her Instagram channel or a few other people, but I don't watch a lot of Instagram, but I need to so that I can post more. And as I prepare for my In the Laundry Lab 10-day laundry lab challenge, I need to be posting more on Instagram now so that I can mention it when that happens. And I guess I should go ahead and talk about that while we're chatting. And that I want to invite you guys to sign up for my newsletter. It's the Homemaker's Journal, and it comes out about once a month, once every 6 weeks. And I put information in there about tips and tricks for homemaking, whatever product I'm crushing on, that kind of thing. And if laundry is your dilemma, laundry is your challenge, then please sign up for my free Laundry Lab Masterclass, which I am kicking off with a 10-day in the Laundry Lab challenge on April 15th, which is National Laundry Day. So that's what I'll be doing. So please sign up for that. And I will put both the links in the description box. And then don't forget to check us out at www.aprondiva.com. So I want to make sure that I said that. But yes, I need to be on social media more, but I just can't keep up with it. I can keep up with YouTube most of the time. I try to put up a couple of YouTube shorts a week and a YouTube video. I'm not put up any shorts this week. I just didn't have the time. I've got some shorts edited, ready to go up, but then you got to do the SEO and all the other stuff. So I do try to limit myself on TikTok and on Instagram, and will peruse YouTube at night, but I'm not on it as much as I would like to be. Let's see. So Stephanie says she's lost 18 pounds doing plant-based. Yeah, you can do it. So Ronnie's replying to text saying that's a good idea to limit how much time you spend on social media. Otherwise, you know, you might not get some other things done. And let's see, Carol, I just saw her. There she is. Carol is back. So welcome back, Carol. You know what, Rose? You are absolutely right. She says she finally learned not to worry about what others think. It's more about her pride in caring for herself and her family. But Rose, it takes us time to get there. I'm there now too, but I wasn't there when I was a young homemaker. I felt like I was being judged by other people because I was not the neatest homemaker. And we were always busy. We were going here, we were going there. But it takes us some time to get there. But you're right. You want to get to a point where you don't worry about being judged. And you're right. This is a great quote by Eleanor Roosevelt that says, "You wouldn't worry so much about what others think of you if you realize how seldom they do." Oh, that is absolutely right. I like that quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. And Rose, thank you for introducing that to us. And you're right. Others don't think about us as much as we think they do. Let me get that banner off the screen. I forgot that was up there. And then Deb Whitmore just joined us. And Deb, we've had a great conversation. We really have had a great conversation. We have been on here, oh my goodness, an hour and a half almost. I didn't realize we had been on here so long. So it's probably time for me to wrap this up. But I have really enjoyed talking with all of you guys and getting the various ideas that you guys have about what you do to help reduce the influence of social media. And for those of you that just joined us, what we were talking about, we were addressing the fact that homemaking is not a highlight reel, that it's actually made of all those moments in between. And there's things that we don't see. And so what we have to do is set realistic expectations for ourselves. So, on that note, I'm going to let you guys go. But again, sign up for my Homemaker's Journal newsletter, sign up for my free Laundry Lab Masterclass. Those links are in the description box. And I will see you guys next time. Good night.